ounces. First 12 ounces, yeah. First 12 ounces. First 12 ounces, yeah. Y'all better listen up. This sports talking tough. So if you got a cup, go on and raise it up. I'll raise one with you as we talk about the sports. It's raining stats and rumors. Let us give you the report. This is First 12 ounces. First 12 ounces, yeah. First 12 ounces. First 12 ounces, yeah.
What is up? Welcome back, everybody, and happy holidays. Because by the time, this will come out before the holidays, but still, happy holidays. Let's get into it. What a crazy, hectic week of college football. We'll get on all of it. But let's start off with one of the best things that happened this week, and that's little brother got beat yet again. Hey, nothing like going 11-0 and then dropping the most important games of your school program's best season that they've seen since '98, and then you drop two in a row. One keeps you out of the SEC championship, and the other one ends your playoff run. What a sloppy game. 10-3. Miami kind of stepped up and established a run game late to finish it off. And how about Ruben Bain? Ruben Bain was called out by an offensive lineman from A&M. And what did he do? Oh, let's see. Just 5 total tackles, 4 for a loss, 3 sacks, and a blocked field goal. I mean, like, what are you doing here? You're just giving this guy more ammunition, and he goes out and has one of the best games we've seen thus far in a college football playoff game. I think. I mean, he just went off. I'm sure there have been better ones, but that one was very impressive. And Marcel Reed, yet again, doesn't look like a good quarterback when it comes up to playing big time teams. Against Texas, he had no touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Against Miami, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions. I mean, what a way to host your first home playoff game by not even putting up a touchdown. What do you think about it?
Man, look, the thing that stuck out to me, and I'm sure it stuck out to a lot of people, is 1 for 2 and 1 for 4. That was kicking field goals. And look, I think only one of those was outside of 45 yards, if I remember correctly. Sloppy. I mean, especially from a kicking standpoint, that is atrocious. I mean, look, it's a tricky situation for A&M, right? Like, you go 11-0, but then you lose against Texas, which is I would definitely say y'all are their biggest rival. Y'all have OU and A&M, both huge rivals, but that's a whole other conversation. And then you lose your hosting playoff game, which is catastrophic. I mean, you finally get into that relevance again. You finally get in the CFP. You finally you're hosting a playoff game. Which, look, I mean, as a fan, and we'll talk more about hosting later, but as a fan, like, your team hosting a playoff game has to be one of the most electrifying experiences there is in college football, outside of going to like the national championship out. Because a lot of these games are on neutral sites, right? So it's like, it's not as exciting as a fan. I'm sure as a player too, it's extremely fortunate to have it on your home field. And nonetheless, A&M goes from 11-0 to 11-2 and sitting at home. I guess heading to Cancun or to Galveston Beach, as like some other people like to say. That's tough, man. That's a tough life. Yeah, I mean, look, it was sloppy at times. At times, it really was just good defense. I mean, look, first half, I think we were on live. We actually all said first half was pretty sloppy. Second half was a little more controlled defense, is what I call it. Giving up a big play here, but then forcing a 3 and out the next set of chains, right? Marcel Reed again, super athletic. Not a great passer. He's not a guy who I think is going to go out there and win you a game with his arm. That last play, look, I'll be honest with you, I was watching that last drive and I was like, holy shit, man, are they going to do this? Take it to overtime? Are they going to go for 2 if they score? Like, so many thoughts as a fan, right? You're like, what's going to happen here? But he had a guy open. He hesitated and threw it late, and the DB made a play. I mean, look, hats off to the DB for sticking with the route, because I mean, that's a tough route to cover. A slant is a very tough route to cover, even if you think it's coming, because depth plays into play. Where everybody else is on the field plays into play. You know this. You play ball, but so it's hell of a play by the DB. But I think if he throws that ball earlier, I think the receiver probably has the edge. Now he didn't, because as we say, Marcel Reed is not a pure passer. Period. And on the Miami front, yeah, Ruben Bain is a man. We've talked about him a lot on this podcast. I think he's the best player in this draft. And I mean over every running back, over every quarterback, over every receiver, everybody, including over Caleb Downs, who everybody's very high on. I think Ruben Bain heard what was said. I think Ruben Bain said, "I'm going to show everybody what it's about," and I think he did. I mean, 3 sacks in a game is pretty crazy. Obviously, 4 tackles for loss is crazy too, and 5 tackles total is crazy for an edge guy. Nonetheless, 3 sacks, massive numbers. Yeah, I mean, so back to A&M. I mean, I guess tough for them. Uh, I get torn because on the live I said that I think you still look at this season as it was successful, right, for them. Now that it's been a few days, I'm sitting here thinking like, as a fan, player, coach, whatever you are, it's like, what do you make of this? Obviously the talking heads have all made the rounds now about it, so you let that influence your opinion a little bit. But I still think if I'm A&M, I'm proud of going 11-0 or 11-1. Sorry, proud of going 11-1. Proud of hosting a CFP game. Very upset with the outcome of that CFP game, though. Obviously, losing to your rival is not fun. But if they lose to Texas and then they go on to win 2 playoff games, I don't think they're worried about losing to Texas. Now it might be in their head a little more because of the way it finished, right? But nonetheless, man, that was the first one, and that's an L.
Yeah, absolutely. And getting on the Reed front about his throws, the one throw that everyone's been talking about, and you've seen it on social media everywhere, is when he had the wide receiver wide open and he threw it behind him and low, and the wide receiver drops it. And everyone thought he caught it at first. They had to go to review. They thought it was a catch. The Miami players were screaming that it wasn't, and it wasn't a catch whatsoever. I mean, you think about that big miss, then you think about the fumble that he had earlier in the game as well. It seemed like every time A&M had a drive going, something happened. A
Yeah.
blocked field goal, fumble, just
Now,
miscues.
yeah, and I will say the long ball, I think the wind did play a factor in that because I saw somebody posted the sky cam of it, and of course, it was an A&M guy who was saying, look, the wind 100% affected this ball. You can tell he gets hung up in the wind, but that's one throw of many that I think could have went better. Just
Yeah.
to defend that one,
Yeah. I mean, you remember he had that long bullet down the sideline to Concepcion or Craver. I think it was Craver. And
Mhm.
I was like, oh, here we go. Here we go. Now they're about to open it up. And then it just fizzled out. It was like, it's almost like if Reed doesn't have a wide open receiver down the field like that, and he has to read the coverage and break down the coverage and throw a tight ball in there, it's going to be an interception. So what happened against Texas? His 2 interceptions against Texas were the same thing. He threw a ball to the outside, corner was on it. He threw a pass
Yeah.
across the middle. Michael Taft picked it off. I don't know. We'll see what I mean, they're going to have to get somebody to come in there and help him with his mechanics. But hey, you got to remember too, they just lost their OC as well. Klein's stepping away and going to Kansas State.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a big factor on what they bring back next year. Who would you think is their biggest win this season?
Oof. To be honest, I don't know their schedule as much as you do at all. I'm gonna pull it up real quick. Though. I got it right here. I mean, obviously, I think the best team they played, from what I remember, was Texas. Looking through it right now. I mean, you'd probably have to say either Missouri or LSU. Looking at it, I mean they went to both of those and won pretty easily on both of them. I mean, I'd say LSU, going to LSU, because at that time, and I'm not saying LSU is what they were ranked at that time, but at that time LSU season wasn't as far over as it is now, obviously, or as it was week 12. You know what I'm saying? It's not that LSU had the number next to them. It's the fact that they were playing for more, in my opinion, at that time. So I'd say LSU outside, and then obviously they went to Missouri, but I mean, they won 30-17 at Missouri, but I would say at the time of competitive football, LSU was better than Missouri. Now, obviously, things change throughout the season. They play different teams throughout the season, but nonetheless, I'd say one of those two probably.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's move on to the next one. What a game! I'll let you start it off, and then I'll come in afterwards with my thoughts on it.
Yeah, man. Bama OU. Look, a game that while I was excited about it, I don't love playing a team again. I didn't love playing Georgia again. I don't love playing anybody twice. Now, I do think and people can say what they want. I think when you play the same team twice, if you lost the first time, I think you have the edge. If they're comparable teams, right? Like Bama beat Wisconsin this year. I think we play them twice. We beat them twice. We play them 10 times. We probably beat them at least 9, maybe 10. Crazy game. Obviously, everybody knows the story. Bama goes down 17-0. Twitter's exploding with where's Notre Dame? Why is Bama in? Where's BYU? And look, I'm not gonna lie, when it was 17-0, concerned, but it was so early. I mean, it was so early, and it didn't happen the way it happened against Georgia, where you went down 14-0 in the first 5 minutes. But it just felt so dominant on their part. Couple things didn't go our way. We had a drop on the second drive of the game that would have got us first down. We had a run that would have probably broke for at least 8 yards, but on a second short, but guy gets tripped and just falls. I mean, that happens, Nonetheless, all week you had to hear a lot of, and I'm going to pull a Jalen Murray here, a lot of naysayers, and, what do? We let a naysayer know, man. We got guys like Damian Harris, Bama alum, Bama diehards, right? No, scumbag, sellout, loser. Damian Harris and Mark Ingram both took this week, mainly Damian Harris, took this week to stay relevant. That's all that was. I'm going to stay relevant by shitting on the team that gave me everything I am today. Damian Harris went to the NFL, and he was okay. He would not be where he is today without Alabama, and that's a fact. Nick Saban, Alabama made you. Remember that, okay? Now, back to the game. Sorry, had to get that one out. Because, dude, nothing's worse than seeing a former Bama player decide they all of a sudden hate Bama. All of a sudden, Bama doesn't deserve to be in the playoff, blah, blah, blah. Shut up. Don't care. So, go down 17-0. Then you kind of put a drive together. You get down, you score. And then you get the block punt. And to me, that was the point where I was like, we're going to win this game. Because some things are fate. Some things are fate, man, and I believe that. The punter kind of like, the way it looks to me is he catches the snap, like goes to like kick it, and then sees Tim Keenan like pretty close, and I think he just froze. Just drops the ball. TK jumps on it. We get the ball, get the field goal. All right, cool. So we're 10-17. And then, man, Xavier Brown, another pick six. Incredible play by him. And look, Pete, I sent you this, and for the viewers, you can look it up if you want. A lot of people aren't really giving credit to ZB for this one, but the way it all played out, we've been baiting that throw the whole game. They had been running a lot of quick hitches to the back shoulder, and ZB jumped on the hitch, and then Bray was coming down from the top for the deeper route. It was covered either side. But here just so happened, had the pressure, got it out quick, zipped it, perfect pass, right in the numbers, right where you want it. Xavier Brown to the house, man. And while talking about Xavier Brown, he is now one scoring defensive touchdown behind Minka Fitzpatrick for the all-time Bama record. He's a sophomore. So if he gets 2 more in his next year, maybe 2 years, but he'll probably be a 3-year guy. He's an all-time Bama record holder, which is crazy to think. He started as a freshman. Obviously, he had the pick six this year against Tennessee. He's a lockdown corner. Defense as a whole gave up the early points, but it's hard not to credit them when you go 17-0 and then you give up 7 points for the rest of the game. Now, I know they did have the 2 missed field goals. One was like 55 yards, and I mean, in a windy night, that's a tough one. But the other one was like 50 yards, I think. I can live with, if we're giving up a 50-something yard field goal, I can live with that as a defensive play caller, in my opinion. Somebody I have said a lot of negative things about is Connor Talty. And I'll tell you all right now, Connor Talty, I watched the Eastern Illinois game, even though it's a cupcake game. I watch every game. I saw him miss a field goal from 35 yards in that game and get booed at home by our fans. Obviously, this is coming off of the heels of the Oklahoma game. Everyone's still pretty salty about that one. And ever since then, he hasn't missed. He's like 5 for 5 since then, I think. Some are, 30-something yarders. I think one is a 52-yarder. He drilled 240-somethings this game. Never in doubt. Off his foot, turns around, goes to the sidelines. Look, hats off to him. I mean, that's resilience to me, especially in that wind. That's pretty impressive. Ty Simpson looked good, man. The pressure was there sometimes. I think they had like 4 sacks or 3 sacks. But when you're playing a defense that sends pressure, I think 85% of the time on passing plays, you're going to give up sacks. I mean, it's just hard not to. One thing he didn't do was fumble. He had 2 times where he got hit from behind. I'm just sitting there waiting for it, as I'm sure other people were because they've seen it a bunch of times. And both times, man, he held on to the ball, which is huge. I mean, just massive. Uh, his ball placement's always been good, but he did have a couple times lately where it didn't look as good. But I thought it looked really good. Another guy I want to talk about is Latsier Brooks. Pete, you have heard me say Latsier Brooks' name for over a year now. For those who don't know, when we recruited him, I was reading a lot of good stuff about him. I saw a lot of really good tape on him. I heard a lot of people saying, as a freshman, he'll make an impact. As a freshman, he'll make an impact. And man, he's made an impact, but this game, he just kind of took over. That catch that kind of started the whole first drive that we scored on down the sidelines where Ty's about to get killed. And he just, lost it up as far as he can into the wind, by the way. He has to kind of fall down and catch it in his lap. He does. And obviously both touchdowns that he scored. One of them, he breaks like 4 tackles. The kid's like 6'1", I think, like 180 pounds max. Just spit off of guys. Just get off me. I'm gonna will this team to a victory. And then obviously the touchdown catch was beautiful. He's looking this way. The ball carries on this side. He turns and catches it on this shoulder. I mean, that's tough to do, man. And you just gotta love that. Kalen DeBoer becomes the first head coach to win college football playoff games at multiple schools. But he is going to Michigan, don't forget, just in case you're wondering. One thing that annoyed me this game, I felt like the refs were horrible. I mean, I was calling you nonstop during the game, like, hey, like, am I crazy here, or like, was this bad? Like, there was some very questionable stuff. There were some missed calls. But we won the game, so I don't care as much. But like, I mean, all in all, I know I just spilled out a lot, but all in all, you think back to going down 17-0, and that kind of like turn you up a little bit and kind of upset you a little bit. But then you think to it, man, you got 17-0, but then you win the game 34-7 on the rest of the game. So it's hard to like get so hung up on that and to think like we did make the adjustments, we did fix the things. Yes, a couple of things went our way. They had the drop down field when it was 17-10. That could have changed things, right? But in that environment, to go down 17-0 and come back and win by 2 scores, crazy, man. Crazy game. Roll damn Tide.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, sitting here, me and you were talking throughout the game, texting throughout the game in the group chat with everyone else as it was going on. 17-0, and then Bama comes on and goes 27 unanswered. 27 points unanswered. Then they give up a touchdown, so it's kind of close. And then what does Bama do? Oh, wait, we're going to go down and just put it away.
Crazy.
Like, what? What? And I'm looking at this game as well. We're looking at another quarterback that doesn't really look good at quarterback in Mateer.
Yeah.
Another game of his where you're scratching your head going, what's this kid doing? Really, what is he doing? And what is their mantra that they came out to 50 Cent with that actually I think hyped up the Bama team more than it did theirs? Hard to kill.
Many men.
Sooners are hard to kill. All right, let's see. 0 for 5 in college football playoff games. 0-2 when leading by 17. Every other team that's had a 17 point or more lead in a college football playoff are 28-0. So yeah, Sooners are hard to kill. All right, let me tell you, that was what a joke. I mean, we heard it nonstop about how Bama's not going to be prepared for Norman. Look what happened last time they came to Norman. They're not going to be ready, and it's a college football playoff game. Oh no, look out! And look for the first start of the game, a 17-point lead. It looked that way. It looked like, this is going to get ugly. Like this is going to get ugly. And then Alabama settled and kept Mateer backpedaling the whole game, trying to figure out where he's throwing the ball. And talk about a game that had lack of a running game. I mean, it's another one that there was not much of a running game, honestly, by either side.
Yeah.
But it leaves you scratching your head for OU as well, just like they're scratching your head for A&M. Like, what are they going to do quarterback wise? I know both of these guys are going to be starting quarterbacks for their university. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is they got to do something with their mechanics or something because they're not getting it done. When it comes to big time games, both of these teams slip up. Both of these quarterbacks slip up and don't look great. I mean, that pick six was huge. Huge. I haven't
Yeah,
screamed that loud for a team that hasn't been Texas in I don't know how long. I was like, oh, there we go. Let's go. It was nuts. Nuts.
man.
And not to mention his Tennessee highlight is one of my favorite pick six highlights of all times. Now I gotta find one that can equal up to that because that thing was sick. I mean, he threw it straight to him too. Like you said, and I know you sent me the breakdown of the guy breaking down film of how the Alabama baited him into it the entire time, and it exactly played out to what they were doing and fell
Yeah,
right into right into
yeah.
it.
And look, that's a Kane Womack scheme. That's what Kane Womack does, bro. And look, all year we've seen him make adjustments and adjustments and adjustments. Sometimes you do need things to go your way. And their first touchdown drive, obviously it's a scripted drive. They played it great. That's a hard one to stop. They do it. Boom. Their next scoring drive, kind of similar thing, right? Some things went their way. They had a guy. They had a couple guys early on make some incredible catches. If you remember, the diving catch to the
Yep.
sidelines was incredible. Another guy jumps in the air and just toe taps on his way out the sidelines. Both of those were on third downs. Incredible plays. But then you see them drive down and have to settle for a field goal on their third drive. Yeah, I think it was their third, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong, but nonetheless, um, that's when I kind of started thinking, like, okay, like we're making the adjustments now on defense. We're gonna be fine as long as they don't make the best catches of their career. We'll be fine. And then like I said, they were hitting those quick ones early, and he baited them into it. And look, Xavier Brown played it perfectly. Mateer threw a great ball right in the center of the numbers. I mean, you're saying he's a bad quarterback. I mean, he hit ZB right in the chest. Come on, Pal Pete.
It's a wrong shade of crimson.
Yeah, I mean that's a 3-point match right there. Um, But no, look, if I look, while Mateer, once it wasn't going perfect, that's when you could see Mateer start to struggle. When it was going perfect, he was playing, I think, perfect to what he's capable of. I don't think he can play much better in that first quarter. But once you're not down 17-0, you can start sending pressure. You can start scheming a little bit. When you're down 17-0, you're kind of playing for an interception, which is hard. It sounds silly, but that's hard because then you're giving up runs. And as far as Bama's run game, I want to touch on that a little bit because that's been the story all year. All year, Bama can't run the ball. Bama can't run the ball. But people forget, like while Bama couldn't run the ball all year, they still found a way to go 10-2 in the regular season with a top 5 strength of schedule. Don't forget. The run game isn't flashy. It's not statistically good, but it's there when you need it. Let's not forget Daniel Hill ran that touchdown in from the 4 or 5 yard line, just pummeled through guys. So I think when the run game has to be, I've kind of said this before on here, when we need it, it's there. But it's not something we're going to lean on. I think it could be as simple as we just throw the ball that much better than we run the ball. This game, we ran the box score says 28 rushing yards. Well, I can already see ties at negative 22. Okay, they had 4 or 5 sacks. His longest run was 13 yards, and I think he had like a 5-yarder. So at 28 is really actually 45, 55, like around 60, which still isn't an astronomical number, but that does change. That kind of changes the narrative if you just kind of look at it from a more realistic standpoint of how many yards were actually gained on the ground. But nonetheless, I mean, when we needed it, we had it. There was a play late in the game where we needed, it was like a 3rd and short, kind of to put the game away, and we ran the ball with ease down their throats. Look, I would love to see a better run game. Obviously, I'd love to see 200 rush yards a game. That'd be great, or 100, even 100 rush yards a game. I know Budo was really fired up because every game this year, LSU ran the ball for 100 yards. Cool. Where's LSU right now? Sitting at home. And I'm not even trying to joke on LSU. I'm really not. But we heard. I remember hearing that several times. Ran the ball for 100 yards. Everything's looking great. Hey, ran the ball for 28 yards. Won a college ball playoff game on the road. I don't make the rules.
Oh man! Before we get into these other two games that were absolute blowouts, OU and A&M did set history. Both
Oh,
teams were the first two playoff teams to host home games and lose them. Both had remarkable seasons and then set records in the losing column.
yeah. And I also think that's something that I want to talk about for a second here. You know, they both. So there are four playoff sites: OU, A&M, and then Oregon and Ole Miss. Okay, Oregon, Ole Miss play G5 teams. Okay, we would assume that statistically they have a better chance of winning those games. Okay, A&M and OU played non G5 teams. They played Power 4 teams, and both of those home teams lost. I think it's kind of interesting. Obviously they both deserve to be in. I'm not saying they shouldn't have been in, but I think it's an interesting fact that the two that didn't play G5 teams both lost. Um, that hurts as a fan base, as a program. I think that hurts. I really do.
Yeah, and especially from all the flack that we've heard on live and on Twitter about how that home field advantage is going to be huge for them going into these games, and
Yeah,
boy, did
yeah,
that work out for you? How did that work
yeah,
out? Um, but hey, let's get into these other two blowouts, and we'll get into the conversation that everybody else has been talking about, the G5 schools. Uh, Ole Miss just kind of did what they wanted with ease to Tulane, and I know you thought it was gonna be a closer game. Buddha thought it was gonna be a closer game. I didn't. I thought it was gonna be the same thing as last time, and it was worse. It was way worse. And Lane got $250,000 from watching it from Baton Rouge. And then Oregon goes out and just puts it on JMU as well. I don't know about you, but those two games, it was to the point where I was doing stuff around the house and I really it was they were background noise because I was just like, I mean, it's not even there's nothing competitive about it.
yeah, yeah. Man, look, it's tough. I'm from here. I'm from New Orleans, so like obviously I wanted Tulane to do good. I mean, I still think Tulane has more in the tank there. Um, and actually it wasn't worse for the record. The first game Tulane lost 45-10. This time they lost 41-10. So it was
Oh.
4 points, 4 points better. Just for the record. 4 points. Um, but nonetheless, I think for Tulane it came down to kind of similar to the Bama Georgia game. You down 14-0 in the blink of an eye. And then it gets tricky because you're driving down with ease, I might add, and then you throw a pick, and they drive down and score. So now it's 21-0. Next series, you drive down with ease. You get to like their 30 or 40, fourth and like 2, I think it was, or fourth and 4, and you have to go for it, obviously, in that situation. And then you get stopped, and they score again. I think if Tulane gets that first touchdown and they don't throw a pick there, I think the game plays out differently. I don't know if Tulane had the juice to win it after watching the game. Right, hindsight's 2020.
Yeah.
But no, I think Tulane's a competitive program. I mean, they're G5, so sometimes it is as simple as. And I actually texted one of my buddies this. I said I think with this one, it is as simple as Ole Miss just has better dudes. I mean, I think it's that simple. You watch these tackles for Tulane go one-on-one with these ends, and they're just getting whipped, man. You couldn't do anything downfield because of that. You chip with a tight end, the tight end gets thrown down, can't even run his route. Like, I mean, it was they were just better players, better athletes. That kind of came down to it is what it is. Now look, while the Oregon JMU game was technically closer, that game was horrible, horrible. In no way, shape, or form was that game competitive. It actually pisses me off that it ended up being closer than it was because I think JMU scored like 21 points in the fourth quarter. Like that's some childish chicken shit, man. That game was not close. JMU
Yeah.
did not belong in the playoff. I don't know if Tulane belonged. I have a sweet spot in my heart for Tulane, obviously, but I think we got to do something with the G5 thing because you had two teams in there that, yes, by rule they were in there by the ruling of the college football playoff right now, but I think they got to change something because that's not good for the sport. That's not good for the programs, in my opinion. We get all juiced up. We go to this game and then we get beat by 40. Like it's just silly. Now again, a lot of people are posting these graphics and these pictures showing other times where other teams in the playoff lost by a certain amount, right? Saying like, oh, in X year, uh, like Ohio State, Tennessee last year. That's a perfect example. Ohio State won like 52-10 or 52-20, something like that. It was a blowout. And people are posting that and they're like, oh, what about this? Yeah, but the difference is like Tennessee had all these other wins throughout the season to prove, yes, they belong here. You know what I'm saying? Whereas, like,
Yep.
you look at Tulane and JMU's schedule, hell, you look at Boise State's schedule last year, you find the same thing. Well, Boise State, yeah, you look at them last year, you find the same thing. You know, they don't play the same teams. So while they might, I don't care if they go 12-0, I still don't think they belong. You know, and so I think something's got to change. I think they will change it because I think they're going to start losing money on it. And that's what it all comes down to for the NCAA is money. So
Yep.
we'll see.
Absolutely. 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 Before we close out, let's touch on some few last things. Oh, well, we can go ahead. I'll go ahead and get your pick for it now. For the fabulous biggest bowl of the weekend, the Cheez It Bowl, Texas versus Michigan. I mean, hey,
Well,
OU and A&M fans been on my Twitter mentions and nonstop to Texas fans. Enjoy the Cheez It Bowl. Enjoy the Cheez It Bowl. Hey, we will, and so will you watching it from home. So let's all enjoy the Cheez It Bowl this weekend.
yeah, well, so dude, look, I'm gonna be honest with you. You know, I'm usually down to ride with you. You know I am, man. But I heard Caleb DeBoer's at Michigan right now. Like, so that I don't know. No, man. Look, I think Texas beats them. I think certain, and this isn't even a slight to Texas, at all. But I think some programs don't get up for regular bowl games. I think some programs think they're above it. I think some coaches don't have the same motivational skills or powers, whatever you call it, as others. I think Sark's going to have them ready to play. I think Sark's going to tell them, "Hey, this is our opportunity to go out here and show, like, hey, maybe we should have been more in the conversation for the playoff." You know where I stand on y'all being in the playoff this year. I don't think y'all belong in the
Yep.
playoff by what happened. But I think Sark can. It's almost a mind game. I think he can convince the guys, like, hey, let's show them why it should have been us. You know, I guarantee you, he's probably pointing at some of these games, being like, "You think this team should have been in there over you?" And now they run the field. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I see him with a whistle. You're like, "You think they deserve to be in?" Blows the whistle and they go run a sprint. So yeah, no, I got Texas winning this one. I also think Texas isn't going to have any opt outs, right? I mean, not that I know of, at least.
Oh no, we
Obviously,
got a
people who are,
bunch of options. Yeah, we
well,
got a bunch of
besides,
yeah. Besides the draft guys and the portal guys, everybody else will play. We'll have our defense will look completely different though. We got a lot of DBs that are transferring out and going to the draft. We got a lot of linebackers, so that'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Anthony Hill's not playing. LaFau's in the portal. We have two cornerbacks that are going to the league. Taff is opting out because of the NFL, so it'll be a different secondary. So Bryce Underwood might have a little shine to him, but we'll see. I mean, he's still got to deal with Colin Simmons, and that dude's a monster. We'll probably see a lot of playing time from Justice Terry, who we've been big on all year. He did get some snaps throughout the year, so we'll see. I'm sure he'll get a bunch of snaps. So we'll see what it looks like, and then you'll see a bunch of the younger guys, which you kind of want to see. You want to see some of these younger guys do something. I mean, while we're on it, let's go ahead and touch on the portal. Texas is losing a lot to the portal. We lost 18 so far. We have lost some big names. DeAndre Moore being entering in it now. I think me and Chance talked about it, and Chance said that he believes he got a bad NFL grade, so he's looking to play another year, but to play it in a different system, just to kind of better his grade. And then, not to mention, he's got a lot of young guys that are stepping up and kind of stealing snaps for him. That's what happened this year. He was injured a good bit of the year, but then he had, Parker Livingston kind of came on strong, and everybody was like, "Whoa!" And then Emmett Mosley as well, and then of course Wingo. Wingo's going to get his reps for sure. So it'll be interesting to see what it looks like. But man, this portal is something else. I know you wanted to touch on it. It is by far. I don't think you can't look at anything social media wise and not see On3 symbol with some kid's face on it that's in the portal, and it's like,
yeah, yeah, it's nuts, man. I mean, if you, I don't know if you follow it, I'm sure you do. The transfer portal has an official Twitter. It's called Transfer Portal. I don't think I've opened Twitter in the last 2 weeks and not seeing a post from them with somebody going to the portal. But it's crazy, and until they put some kind of rules on it or something, it's not going to change. In my opinion, it's going to all continue to be what it is right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I know one thing I definitely want to do. I want to get a chart of how many kids are in the portal now, and then I want to see how many actually get picked up by teams. Because I know last year and the year before, the number that were on there was crazy, and then I forgot how many didn't ended up not having a home. Like there was nowhere for them to go, and they just. I mean, what happens? What happens? You
Well,
just stay stagnant in the portal. You leave. You leave a university. Because let's face it, all these kids are entering the portal. Not all these kids are going to end up somewhere, and not
no.
all of them are going to end up at a program that they want to go to either.
Well, yeah, I think last year it was at one point. At one point, it was like 30-something% of all college football players were in the portal, which is absolutely insane. Obviously, I know for the guys that left Bama, Sorry, I have a little visitor down here right
No, you're
now.
good. You're
um, for
good.
the guys that left Bama, I know this year, except for Justice Haynes, I don't think any of them really had great years. And his year was great until he got hurt. He's a good ball player. But nonetheless, so the grass is always greener, and that's something I like to keep tabs on. I like to keep tabs on who left Bama and how they did. And I'll be honest with you, a lot of them found out the grass is not always greener.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. While we're also talking about it with the mix up and the changes, Texas broke some big news that kind of shook all of us. Was crazy. It happened before the playoff games and everything else. With Will Muschamp being named the new defensive coordinator, PK got his walking papers, and from everything that Sark said in his press conference, he kept it simple and he said, "Now I can focus on the offense." He kept saying that it kept being like he couldn't really focus 100% on offense because he was always having to dip into the defense. Muschamp's coming on, and he's actually coaching the DBs as well. So everybody was like, "Oh, he's going to coach linebackers and everything else," but he's coming in and he also wants to coach the DBs. He's got hunger to be back in it. They asked Kirby about it, and Kirby sung his praises. He said, "Hey, Will's helped us the past 2 years. He didn't have a full on coaching role. He was an analyst for us, but he helped us throughout the year. He's like he helped us in every big one of
Yeah,
our big games. He had there was a footprint that he put on there. And he said, he's getting an opportunity to go to a university that you really can't say no to. And he's like, I'm happy for him. He wanted to get back into it. 100%. He has an opportunity to, and he's like, hey, he goes, he helped build our defensive staff that we have today. Whenever he
yeah,
decided to step away for family matters, he helped build my defensive staff that I have at Georgia. He goes, yeah. So him going to Texas is a huge opportunity for him. I'm excited for it. I didn't see it coming at all. Like I told you about it, and I talked to my insiders here in Austin, and it was kind of hush hush that something was going to happen. And man, what a big splash! But I'm excited for it and see what happens. Moving forward with him at the helm.
yeah.
Anything else you
So,
want to touch on? Oh,
one thing I'll
go
say
ahead.
about look, Muschamp's another Saban guy. Coached under Saban, coached with Saban side by side. Him, Saban, Kirby, Sark, Kiffin, that whole little crew, they're all pretty tight. And look, Muschamp's a football dude, man. He's an X's and O's guy. He's old school. He likes to hit. He likes to put pressure in your face. And look, he's been around the block. He's coached at a lot of places. I see no reason to think he won't be successful at Texas. I think Texas already had a good defense, in my opinion. Interesting what Sark said. I mean, we'll never know because Sark keeps everything pretty close to the vest. But just I hadn't heard that until you said it just now. So just hearing that is to me that makes it seem like you said, maybe he didn't trust y'all's DC. But nonetheless, that's like the fifth time I said nonetheless today. I don't know what's going on with that. But anyway, yeah, no, I think it's a great hire. I think y'all are going to be happy with Muschamp. A lot of respect for the guy. He, as a coach at least. A lot of stuff he's done, he's kind of done the right way. So hopefully it works out. I think it will, though. I think it will. As far as other things I want to touch on, I have one other thing. Um, Teams who get first round buys. Um, I think it's interesting. Dan Lanning said something actually today, which is making its rounds on Twitter. Either today or last night. Um, he said that he thinks that teams that have a first round bye should be able to host their first playoff game. Because the bottom half or the bottom 2/3, the top four get to host. So, what do you think about having the teams that had a first round bye host the second round?
It'd be interesting. I think they would have to eliminate the first round playing at home. They would have to do something different because they're not going to. These bowl games are going to go anywhere. These are the traditional bowl games that they want to keep around. But I do get what he's saying. That being a bye, you should earn a home game for the playoffs, which would be
Yeah.
cool. But then you would have to. I guess they would have to reschedule the bowl games. They'd be like, all right, bowl games are moving for the first four, which would still be cool because then hey, guess what? You don't get to host a home game, but you host one of the New Year's Sixes. Like you can't really complain about that.
Yeah.
But I mean, it'd be interesting to see how it goes because remember, last year every team that had a bye lost.
And
Do we see that happen? Does it repeat?
And look, if I'm not mistaken, he was one of those teams, right?
Yep.
So obviously there's a reason. Obviously there's a reason he's saying it. But look, I agree with him 100%. And to your point about the bowl games, that when I heard it, that was the first thing I thought too was, well, you got the bowl games. So I think what you do is you make those first 6 games bowl games, and then you have the second round, the top 4 hosts. Because I do think it's also kind of tough as a player. You go 4 weeks without playing, and then you got to get up for a playoff game. That's tough. That's because think about it. And look, these conference championships, and that's assuming these teams played their conference championship. If they didn't, it's 5 weeks. Over a month without playing. Obviously, most of the time, the top 4 seeds won their conference championship. Most of the time, that's how it's going to be. But you go 4 weeks without playing, and then you got to get up for a playoff game against a very good team. It's always going to be a very good team at that round.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
It's always going to be at least a good team, if not very good. I think he's got a point. I like what you're saying, and I agree 100% with what you're saying, that you would have to make those first games bowl games. But either way, I think that's something they'll probably look into if the trend continues with the top 4 teams losing.
Yeah. We'll see. It's gonna be interesting. We got plenty of bowl games this weekend, and then we got the big ones again next weekend. You got anything else before we get out of here?
No, that's it, man. Roll Tide.
Yeah. Hey, that's it. Merry Christmas to all you guys out there. Thank y'all for always tuning in. As always, this week's schedule, content-wise, will be a little hectic just because of the holidays. But hey, hug your loved ones. Have fun. Take care of them kids because we know some of y'all got them, and if you ain't got them, you're probably working on them. So have fun with that, and we'll see y'all in the next one. Hook 'em.
Roll Tide.
First 12 ounces. First 12 ounces, yeah. First 12 ounces. First 12 ounces, yeah. Y'all better listen up. This sports talking tough. So if you got a cup, go on and raise it up. I'll raise one with you as we talk about the sports. It's raining stats and rumors. Let us give you the report. This is First 12 ounces. First 12 ounces, yeah. First 12 ounces.